What's going on, Busted Knuckle fam, and welcome to another video. And man, let me tell you, it feels good to be back. So if you can't tell by the title and thumbnail of this video, I finally get to fix my Mustang. But of course guys, that means first things first, we got to get the Mustang inside the shop. Alright guys, so we finally got the Mustang in the shop, and man, let me tell you, I'm really excited to be back filming. I hadn't had much to film because of the weather. While it's cooling down and the exhaust cooling down and stuff, because it's going to be really hot because I just had to drive it up here. Well, I didn't really drive it, I babied it up here. Speaking of the shop guys, I stayed up here late last night and cleaned really good because it looked terrible in here. Me and my Uncle Tony actually did. And man, look at the shop, it looks so clean. There's a little bit of clutter here and there, but as far as the floors, man, the floors look really good. I'm actually kind of proud to be in here working right now. Anyways guys, so on to the transmission that I ordered. I'll give you a little bit of information about it. I did unbox it already just to make sure everything was, nothing was busted, nothing was broke, because it was shipped through FedEx, so I was just making sure, it was okay. But what I ordered was a Ford Performance Super Heavy Duty T5Z. And I know everybody gives the T5Zs a lot of crap, but I've been doing a lot of research, and most people that actually have one of these T5Zs, they say they're really good. They hadn't had any issues with them. They're rated at 330 foot-pounds of torque, which I'm sure my car has more than that, but like I said, these guys, they got upwards of 400, and they said they're holding up fine and had them for, a few years. Let's get to unboxing this thing and show you what it looks like. Alright, like I said guys, I opened this up already just to make sure it wasn't busted, just because I don't really trust shipping agencies, but everything's okay. And man, that thing looks really good. Super clean compared to what's in there now. It comes with a short throw shifter, but I'm gonna put mine in it just because the shifter isn't gonna bolt up to this like I want. All right, guys. So I'm gonna give you while the car's still cooling down, I'm gonna give you a little bit of differences what the T5Z is compared to a regular stock T5. It's still got the same 10 spline input shaft, but it does have a Cobra style pocket bearing, a steel bearing retainer, and also on these it has a revised case, so the case is stronger than a normal T5. I don't know if it means it's a little thicker or made with a little bit better aluminum, but the case is supposedly a lot stronger, and the tail shaft is actually still the same. There's no difference there. It does come with a short throw shifter, but like I said guys, I'm gonna put mine in it because I like my SBE one from LMR, and this one's just a little no name, it doesn't really even say. It still has the factory 28 spline output shaft. It has double molly second, third, and fourth gear, if I'm not mistaken. It might just be second and third gear. That way it revises, extra strength in those gears. It's got upgraded shift forks, and if I'm not mistaken, shifter bushings too. I will have to take the tail shaft off of this just because my car has a 410 gear, and it has a 6-tooth speedo gear, and this one has a 7. So I'll show you guys actually how to do that. I have another video where I did this, but my camera battery died and it ran out of memory, so I'm going to show you guys how to actually change that speedometer gear that's on that output shaft. I'm not going to show you how to take the transmission out. I've done that in a couple other videos, so I'm going to get the transmission out of the car now that needs to be out and get it on the table, get these two tail shafts off, and get my parts swapped. Oh yeah, I want to show you guys this too. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a lot of metal inside that oil right there that's draining out. I don't know if you can see all that glittery looking stuff. There's a lot more than I like to see. I'll be able to tell more once I get it apart. Alright guys, so here's the old transmission. As you can tell, it is very dirty, very stained, just from being in the car for 20 years. Okay guys, and first things first, to get to this speedo gear that's inside the transmission tail housing here, first off you got to take off this shifter here, and then we'll go from there. my shifter, these bolts are 13 millimeter, but like I say, on yours it could be something different. And just take a rubber mallet. Pop that loose. I'll get that cleaned up here in a minute and set that off to the side. Okay guys, now that you got that out, or that off, next thing to do is take in this little roll pin right here, knock that roll pin down, and that way you can get this piece off of this shift rod. And once you knock that down, it'll fall down in there, but this piece will still come off, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Alright, I got my little punch here. Now that you got that knocked down, I'm going to go ahead and take my speed sensor out. Oh, that's an 11. Had to switch up to a thin wall socket because the impact socket wouldn't fit. Alright, get that out. Now we're going to take these bolts out. These are 15s, and once you get all those out, this should just slide right off. Alright, then once you got all those out, you just take a rubber mallet again, just the camera here, rubber mallet again, and just tap on this tail shaft. Once you get all that good, before I get my hands too dirty here, inside here, and under here, there's a little spring and a ball to help feel, shifter feel. So what you got to do, you got to push down on this piece right here, the shift lever, I guess you could say, and pull back at the same time. That way that ball in there doesn't go flying out and the spring go flying. Alright, now that's out. Now I got a mess. Alright, now that we got that out, you just take this piece. I'm still going to save these pieces because I'm probably going to take and rebuild this transmission with some good internals. That way, here in a few years or something, if this one gives me problems, I have another transmission I can go to. Alright guys, now that we got that off, you can see the gear drive right here. This is what actually recalibrates your speed sensor for a 410. Like I say, I got mine from LMR, and I just looked up under their drivetrain section and went under speedometer and gear correction section. Found it. It was really easy, really simple to find. Like I say guys, thank you LMR for having parts I need when I need them, and luckily I get to reuse this. But all you do for this to come out, you take and push down on this little clip right here, that locking tab. It's in the front. Might take a good bit of pressure here to get it to go down. Might actually have to take and tap it down. So it's definitely easier just to tap it down. Take and slide it off. There you go. Now I gotta get another I gotta get a brand new transmission apart just to change this. It sucks, but that's what you gotta do, and it's part of the deal with it. But hey, let's get this thing off, back down off the table, get the new one up here, get the table cleaned up, get it all switched over. Okay guys, I wanted to give you a little bit more information on the T5Z. I actually, if you guys know, I do a lot of purchasing through LMR. And this I actually did not get through LMR. I got it through Jegs. I got it for, it was like $2,027 and some odd change. But the reason I got it through Jegs is because it was $300 cheaper. It was $2,400 through Late Model Restoration. I guess I could have called them, seen if they could have price matched it or not, but I just went ahead and went with Jegs because I wanted to get it here as quick as possible, and it got here in like 2 days. But like I say, guys, I do love LMR. I love the products. They did have this, but like I say, it was $300 more. So I went through Jegs, and I had a $100 off coupon code that I could have used, and so I used that too. And this is where we're at. This one shouldn't have any fluid in it, so hopefully this one doesn't make a mess on the table. I cleaned it all up, but still, it shouldn't have any fluid in it. It says it doesn't. We're gonna cut the next clip, which will be the tail shaft off. So, and just like that, we got the tail shaft off. I know you guys like that editing right there. Anyways, guys, I am trying to get better at editing, get better at YouTube. I really like doing it, so, you know, getting better at it and making better videos for you guys, that's what I'm trying to do. So I did get the piece off right here. Now we just got to get this little clip out. Same purpose as the other one. Take off this little rubber plug right here for to keep the dirt out of stuff. That's a dust cover is all it is. And we're just going to take a little flathead, just barely pop down on it. Go ahead and slide that off, just like that. Alright, now you just take the gear, the fixed speed, or the gear correction gear I should say. You can slide that onto here. Make sure. Also guys, there's a little, let me show you this before I do this. There's a little hole right here and a little ear that sticks off of this clip. Well, that ear goes inside of that hole. Then you push this down, slide the gear on, and lock it into place. Alright, so then you just take and slide it, push it down, slide it back. And there it is, locked into place. That's actually really good and solid right there. That's better than the other one. I always do I like to take and add a little bit of extra tension on this stuff just because. Not much, because you will break it. You got to be very gentle. And that right there should do it. I don't see that going anywhere. Alright guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get everything cleaned up, ready to bolt back together, and then we'll pick the video back up. Okay, so I got the tail shaft back on, got everything clean, everything sealed up. Speaking of that, look at that professional seal job. That looks really good. I'm actually pretty proud of myself on that seal, on that sealant job right there. On transmissions, guys, I usually use an anaerobic gel. I got some Loctite anaerobic gel here, part number 38657. I really like it because it dries a lot quicker. And also silicone is bad about being like a hydraulic ram. Say you get silicone in a bolt hole, it can crack the case, or because whenever you're tightening it down and that silicone bottoms out in that hole, you could blow the bottom of the case out or something like that. Now on the open holes it doesn't matter too much, but I do like to use an anaerobic gel just because it works better, it dries quick, and it's really flexible. This says high flex form and place gasket, so it's good stuff. A lot better than silicone in my opinion on this particular job. And guys, it's kind of difficult to get this transmission tail housing back on, but what you got to do, you got to take and put this in place and make sure your shifter rod hole is up and in the middle, straight up, and then make sure there's no pin left over in this shifter lever right here. So what you do, you set this in here already. There's just the springing ball I was talking about. You put some grease in that center, in that runner, and you put it directly in the center on the slot that goes side to side. You put the spring inside of the shifter lever here and grease it into place so it doesn't fall out. And then once you do that, you take and hold that into place. You slide this on, and this transmission doesn't have a synchronized reverse gear. But if there is if your reverse gear has a tooth sticking off the end of it, you're going to want to make sure that thing's at about the 12 o'clock position, 11 to 12 o'clock position. That way the tail housing will slide right on. Anyways, guys, you take this, you hold it in place while you're sliding the tail shaft on. Get this lined up with this. Press down on that spring and ball. Get it started. And once it's started, it's, you know, it'll be fine. But then you can take some pliers or whatever even your fingers, and take and work this back to where the hole, you can see it, and you just slide it together. Make sure there's no tension there. Make sure it butts together smooth before you tighten anything, especially if you got a synchronized reverse, because if that tooth is bottomed out on the case and you tighten it up, it could bust the reverse gear or bust that synchronizer and all that's in there. But luckily this one didn't have one. I could just slide it right on without having to worry about lining it up. And that's pretty much it on that, guys. That's about the best way I can explain it. It's not really hard. It's pretty simple. Just make sure you grease your stuff to where it stays in there, the ball and the spring, and we're gonna get this pin knocked in and get it back going, and probably pick the video up once we get finished. Alright guys, so we got the transmission in and it looks 1,000 times better. I cleaned everything up, bell housing and everything's tight, good to go. Now all we gotta do is let it down and go see how it does. Alright guys, so we got the car done. I went and test drove it and it ran good, and man, let me tell you something, it feels great to have this car back and to be able to drive it, not have to worry about it. You know, go cruise around with some friends and go to car meets and stuff and get a lot more content out for you guys with this car in particular. That's going to do it for today's video, guys, but I really appreciate all the subscribers I got. I appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate all the new subscribers that I'm gaining. I see you guys, I notice you guys. If you did like the video, guys, be sure to smash that like button down below. And if it's your first time viewing my channel, be sure to look around at my other videos and maybe, you know, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it a lot. But until next time, guys, that'll be it for now, and we'll see you later.